Each time I'm doing this, I will have to search for it and bring it up. I have to look for it. Okay, I will share this with you. ठीक है. Sanmodana Bhasyam. Again, we'll do the Cheto Darpanarjana together. Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavagninirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jeevanam Anandamudivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritaswadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. I wanted to emphasize this point again before it slips my mind. As just posted in Gambhira group, our priorities in Bhakti on a day-to-day basis, so we don't get lost and bewildered, is first to hear from these realized souls. So we keep our priorities straight. For that, we have to hear from these realized souls. Then we will know that Harinam is our priority. When these souls speak, they are all so much dependent on Harinam. They take complete shelter of Harinam. Harinam is none other than Krishna, the most accessible form at any time. That is Krishna, Harinam. So Bhakti is taking complete shelter of Krishna. Sharanagati Bhakta Mukhya Lakshana means complete shelter of Krishna. And the easiest, most accessible form is taking complete shelter of the Harinam. For us, it is a process. We are heading that way, but that has to be our first priority. And of course, the second thing is, since we need purification, we have to engage this body and senses. Then we engage in the services on a day-to-day basis. So that is our priority. Hearing from the realized souls, making sure that Harinam is the priority of the day. And of course, engaging in the services that are given to us. They come in that order. Otherwise, we will not have the strength and the mood to do our services properly if we don't do the first and second step. Yeah? All right. Anything on that before we move? Good? All right. So, in the Harinam, we have talked about, we have heard about the liberated state of being and the conditioned state of being. And next thing is, oh, this is all very beautiful. We have little time and so much of wealth here. Let's read. Okay, chanting is the soul's swadharma. Please, somebody, you can go ahead. Read, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, correct.
Chanting is the soul's swadharma. The word bhava indicates the jiva's forcible subjection to repeated births in this world. Bhava is a continuous cycle of birth and death called Mahadavagni, blazing fire, a raising conflagration that cannot be extinguished by any means other than the congregational chanting of Krishna's holy name. A question may arise at this point: when one is at last enlightened about his swadharma or eternal function as a liberated soul, does he then cease chanting Krishna's holy name? The answer is no. The stoppage of chanting never occurs, because chanting God's name is verily the soul's swadharma. The phrase Shreyah Kairava Chandrika Vitaran confirms this by specifically conveying the sense of the eternal activity of the spirit soul in his original spiritual condition.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada once said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada had a god brother whose name is Akinchana Krishna Dasa. And so he was chanting every day in the mutt, Gaudiya mutt. So some of his god brothers went and kind of complained to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati that he just keeps on chanting all the time and he doesn't do any service. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta asked the devotees, his disciples, he asked him, can any one of you chant the way he is chanting throughout the day? Can you chant? Then the disciples, obviously, they said they can't. So then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, for somebody for them to be able to chant the whole day is at a higher stage. And since your mind is restless, you will have to move around and you are engaged in the service. So do not find fault with him who is chanting more than what you do. So that's what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said. On the same token, Srila Prabhupada said the same thing too. He said, I have come here to give Harinam, but all of them are so restless that they have to be engaged in something so they can get purified and then ultimately get to take shelter of the holy name as much as possible. So this is why these acharyas are saying, because our original position as soul, if we are not inflicted and disturbed by ignorance and passion modes, all we in that very stable state of mind, there will be attraction for Krishna, and that attraction, the closest one is Harinam. So chanting Harinam means being with Krishna all the time, because in Harinam, Lord Krishna, the whole Vrajadama is present in Harinam. Nama Rupa Guna Leela, not only Krishna, the whole Vrajadama is present with Rupa Guna Leela. So if somebody is chanting, if pure devotee is chanting, they are in Vraja. They are with the spiritual personalities. And that's why when Srila Narottam Das Thakur and Acharyas, they do the bhajan, they go to Samadhi, Nam bhajan Samadhi quickly, because they just enter into that realm, spiritual realm. So Harinam means spiritual realm. Vraja, spiritual realm means there are spiritual personalities, there are wonderful qualities, and there are pastimes. So if somebody is able to chant, it means they are in spiritual world. So being in spiritual world is the Swadharma of the soul, of course, right? So that's why soul's Swadharma is Japa, Krishna Nama, being with Krishna Nama, being in Krishna Nama, being in spiritual realm. That is our original address. So, yeah. So next question is, when somebody is enlightened, now we have the answer. If somebody is enlightened, would they stop chanting? Enlightenment means entering into spiritual realm. Harinam is spiritual realm. So they would not cease chanting. They would just want to chant more and more, be in the spiritual realm more and more. So that's the summary of these two paragraphs. If you don't have questions, we can move on to the next one.
Hare Krishna, Madhu.
Hare.
Can I read?
Yes, please.
Okay. The greatest benefit. Jivas who are enslaved by Maya prefer to enjoy material life, and this desire perpetuates their bondage to the cycle of birth and death. This is the root cause of the threefold miseries. But when the spirit soul becomes disgusted with material enjoyment and rededicates his time and energy to Lord Krishna's loving service, he reaps the greatest benefit. This benefit is compared to the cluster of pristine white lotuses. For just as the moon's soothing rays cause the white lotuses to blossom, the rasa-laden rays of the chanting of the holy name stirs the enfolded petals of the lotus of the jiva's good fortune, causing it to open.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. And see what is said. The rasa-laden rays of the chanting of the holy name. So that is holy name, just words, dry words. Doesn't sound so. There is rasa there. There is bhakti rasa there. Yeah. So when does that happen? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave us the indication, right? In the steps of chanting Sharanagati. When the devotee is able to relate to the holy name as Krishna, as someone from whom we came, as someone who always maintains us and protects us, as someone who is unconditionally loving, and as someone who came down as Gauranga to teach us the ways of Sharanagati, the ways of loving devotional service. When we are having this kind of relationship and this kind of thoughts with the holy name Krishna, then naturally, holy name is not dry words, mechanical words anymore. Holy name means something to us because Lord Krishna that is present in the holy name means so much to us. And that is why holy name becomes very dear to us. And in Sharanagati, one of the limbs of Sharanagati is being dependent on Krishna. The other definition is, your will is my will, Lord, my Lord. I have no separate will. I have no separate resentment. I have no separate plans. Your will is mine. That is one of the limbs of Sharanagati. So when somebody is chanting with this kind of mood and submission and relating to the holy name as Krishna that is present there, with the mood of Sharanagati given by Acharyas, then we will know the rasa-laden rays of chanting of the holy name stirs the enfolded petals of lotus, the jiva's heart, basically. If we don't relate to the holy name as our own, the Lord that is present in the holy name, then there is no connection. Then it is mechanical. But if we are relating to the person that is in the holy name, then naturally we will develop our relationship with Lord Krishna in the holy name. Yeah. Please continue. Somebody read this.
Should I continue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Yes.
As it is said, devotion gives birth to devotion. The sincere and faithful devotee must therefore follow the principles of elementary bhakti by regularly hearing and chanting the holy name until the first light of pure devotion begins to dawn in the heart. The closed lotus flower touches by the moon's rays awakens in full bloom. And similarly, when the congregational chanting of the holy name spreads the rays of bhava, the essence of
Ahladini.
Haladani, that impregnates the soul's heart, Rati, conjugal love for Sri Krishna, then lights up his consciousness, bestowing the highest benediction. This is what is meant by the rays of the benediction moon.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah. This is basically what we have just said. So when we are able to relate with the Lord in the holy name, then there will be a sweet relationship and the happiness, Ladini Shakti. There is a comfort and there is happiness that comes along with that relationship, which is Ladini Shakti. The happiness in performance of Seva to Harinam or devotional service. So that happiness that we experience during the Harinam or during devotional service is Ladini Shakti, because of the Ladini Shakti. Okay. And now the holy name reveals the soul's eternal relationship with Krishna. This is beautiful. So far what we have read is how soul's Swadharma is chanting. Chanting again means we don't want to view it as a mechanical thing. Chanting is equal to Krishna Nama. Krishna Nama is equal to spiritual realm, is equal to Krishna present in the holy name, is equal to somebody who is our very source, is equal to our maintainer and protector, is equal to who is present everywhere and is present with us all the time. So that is what chanting means. And that is our eternal occupation, to be in the spiritual realm with the Lord in service. That's how chanting is for Dharma. And the greatest benefit is the rasa, the bhakti rasa. And yeah, now we can read how holy name reveals the soul's eternal relationship with Krishna. Somebody read, please.
I can.
Yeah, please. Go ahead, Mataji.
When does a person having this level of pure devotion acquire his pure spiritual identity? Lord Chaitanya answered this question by saying, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, the life of all transcendental knowledge. The Supreme Lord Sakti has two aspects: Vidya, knowledge, and Avidya, ignorance. Yogamaya, the Swarupa Sakti, is the Lord's internal spiritual potency. This potency is called Vidya, whereas Mahamaya, his external energy, is Avidya. It is the latter that creates the material universe and converts the soul's Swarupa.
Yeah.
Should I stop?
Vidya and Avidya. Okay. Yeah, please continue, Mataji.
Okay. When by his sincerely following the process of hearing and chanting, the first rays of pure devotion finally appears on the horizon of the sadhak, eradicators of all unwanted material desire detrimental to the Lord's service. Eclipse the avidya potency. With the spiritual knowledge, Bhakti Devi destroys. Simultaneously, the Jiva's original spiritual form becomes manifest so that he acquires the form of a gopi. For example, if his pure devotional propensities are steeped in the conjugal mood, for all.
Your connection is in and out. Maybe. Yeah, that's your connection is in and out, Mataji. But thank you. I think you have read the whole.
Go ahead and give some.
Yeah.
Chance. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Somebody else? They can start reading. Thus it stands proven.
Mataji, can I start?
Yes, please.
Thus it stands proven that Krishna's holy name is the life and the soul of the transcendental knowledge. Vidya Vadhu Jivanam, Swarup Shakti, is therefore often said to be Krishna's wife. When the gross and subtle material bodies of the jiva are completely destroyed, the infinitesimal soul regains his original pristine purity. Although the jiva is anu or minutely small, his capacity for spiritual happiness is not minute. To remove any doubt about this fact, Lord Chaitanya adds, Anand Buddhi Vardhana. It is an ever increasing ocean of bliss.
Yeah. So maybe we can. Yeah. Does anyone else would like to read the other two paragraphs and we can summarize?
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, please. Yeah.
The holy name of the Lord, through the Hladini potency, endlessly expands the natural bliss inherent in the soul. Thus, his happiness increases by leaps and bounds, fixing the soul eternally in one of the spiritual mellows of Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. When thus established in his eternal spiritual mellow, he continues to relish the limitless nectar at every step of the exchange of loving emotions in his transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna's enchanting beauty, his divine qualities, and his sublime pastimes are eternal and ever fresh in ecstasy. Inebriated with divine prema, the pure jiva continuously drinks that ecstatic nectar, yet still the Lord's captivating beauty is forever new. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So there is so much in the holy name. This is in the later stages, if you notice. This is Anandambodhi Vartanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. So this is in the later stages of Ruchi, Asakti, past Nishta. When somebody is able to do the bhajan with taking complete shelter of the holy name, which means totally being in present and absorbed in the holy name. When the mind is in the holy name, heart in the holy name, then Guna, Leela. Guna and Leela are revealed. So these are the mellows, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya. And at that stage, in the Leelas, in the past times, so the devotee, Sharanagata Bhakta, who took complete shelter of the holy name Krishna, he will be able to reciprocate with the Lord in the holy name in one of these rasas. This is why they can't give up the holy name. This is why Haridas Thakur wanted to chant and did chant for 22 hours a day. Because holy name is Krishna, right? Krishna and spiritual realm where the reciprocations happen. So that's what these paragraphs are about. This is about eternal relationship with Lord Krishna. So by this time, the mind is so steady, the heart is in the holy name, and so Nama is steady, Rupa is there, and heart in the holy name is, they are absorbed in the qualities of Krishna, right? And then the pastimes. Pastimes means reciprocation in one of the rasas. So that's what this paragraph is talking about. Yeah. We will pause here. I'll just hear a word or two reflections from. Yes, please. Anything before?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hari Prabhu.
I think there was a statement, devotion builds devotion, something like that.
Right, yeah.
So that was very interesting to read that the way it was put. And again, the emphasis, the basic part or the elementary bhakti, I think it said was about hearing and chanting. I think emphasis on those two things.
Yes.
And of course, the how the holy name purifies the soul and the opening of the heart.
Yes. Yes. See, hearing and chanting, what we are doing now is hearing. Yeah. Unless we are hearing all these glories of the holy name, unless we are getting to know that chanting is just not a mechanical thing, and those are not just dry words, and there is a wealth sitting there, spiritual wealth in the holy name. When we are hearing all this from the acharyas, then our curiosity, our enthusiasm, and our faith in the holy name, they gradually deepen naturally when we hear from them. So that is hearing process. And next come the chanting. Chanting is when we are chanting, when we take the Harinam. So that is, you see, that is the sequence generally. Hearing comes first. Hearing, and then based on what we hear, we will understand what to do and how to do Bhakti or Harinam, and then we do it. That is chanting. But yes, Prabhu, you have summarized more than 2 or 3, and thank you for attention. That was good.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare. Anything else, anybody? Otherwise, we can pause here.
The chanting, if my voice is clear, I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you, Mataji.
Yes, so it was a chanting is so Swadharma. It's very good to emphasize again and again. Swadharma means being in a spiritual world, being in a Krishna's name, being in spiritual realm, being in Harinam. That was nice. And that gives strength to do bhakti.
Yes.
And purification takes place.
Yes.
While we engaging our body in service.
Yes.
In this body and service. In service we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, even I felt that Mataji, what Hima Mataji is saying, that we keep hearing chanting is the Swadharma, but it was very clear with the example how it is Swadharma, how it makes us to be in spiritual world, and soul belongs to spiritual world.
Yes.
And that's why it is Swadharma. So that was really nice.
Yes. Thank you. So, if holy name is the fountainhead of our life, all our decisions, actions, and priorities, they just fall in place as the droplets from the fountain fall in place around.
Can you repeat that, Mataji?
Yeah. If the holy name is the fountainhead, whatever we need in our life will fall in place as the drops of the fountain fall in place. In other words, if that is our priority, then there is such an alignment and adjustment that takes place when that is our priority, that our interactions and our services, our understanding, our inclinations, everything else, they just automatically fall in place if chanting holy name with attention is our priority. See, for example, if we have so many services to do, the mind will be thinking this service, this, that service, or this thing, that thing. But if holy name is the priority, if we are like, I am here, my mind is here, and I am going to pay complete attention to Krishna in the holy name. If that is our take, our mood, our submission to the holy name, everything else is put on hold. So all those waves of modes which are coming in the form of words and thoughts and deeds, they are on halt. And as we are with the holy name for a substantial period of time, the reset button is pressed, and all those waves, again, the form of words, checklists, services, etc., they get reset. And we view the whole thing from a different perspective. And we are not in a rush anymore. And we are not attached to what we are doing anymore. All this happens when the holy name is the priority. When something else is a priority, then that occupies our mind more. And holy name is somewhere in the corner. So we are still in the modes, rushing around when something else is a priority. I hope I am at least a little clear. But please think about it. Yeah. ठीक है. All right. We will pause here then. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your association. And Praveen Prabhu and Josna Mataji, Hare Krishna and Radhisha. Hare Bol to you. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्री शिक्षाष्टकम की जय. हरि हरि.